Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is your English girl down under, Kerry Christie, coming live from Perth in Western Australia. I just about made that. I don't know where the time went this morning. My chai is not even hot. I was just boiling the milk. Yeah, it's pretty cold, but with your tea, your coffee, whatever it is that brings you joy today. And today's show is called Letting Go. So we're going to talk about letting go, how to let go, why we let go, the grief of letting go, and everything like that. So stay tuned. And of course, as always, all of my songs will relate to the segment that I am talking about. So let's see how well Kerry's done with that today. So welcome in. I can see that we've got the United States in at the moment listening in. So welcome to all of you listening in America. So we're going through a storm at the moment in Perth. We are in winter and it's hectic out there. The rain is heavy. It's windy. Oh, I really don't like this weather. I mean, it's quite nice when you can sit inside and listen to it, or, when you're asleep and you sort of wake up and you hear it and it's quite cozy. But don't really like it when I have to go out and drive in it, which I'll be doing later. So what happened this week for me? So this week I met one of our other presenters from Dreamcatcher Radio, even though she now lives in the UK. So this is such a bizarre story. For those of you who have listened to Kim and Carl on their show, it turns out that me and Kim have a mutual friend here in Australia. So Kim used to live in Australia and was very good friends, almost like sisterly like, to one of my friends many years ago. And then she moved to the UK and, became a presenter on Dreamcatcher Radio. And then I got my role on Dreamcatcher Radio. And it turns out our good friend Dee is a friend to both of us. How bizarre is that? So Kim was over here this week, and my friend's husband is a stand-up comic, and he was in a competition. So I went to see him and support him, and Kim was there, and so we actually got to meet, which was beautiful. And we recorded a little video to send to the rest of the team to show that we'd met. So it just shows, hey, that life is just bizarre sometimes, the connections and things that happen to us. But she's lovely. Love Kim. She's great. So that happened this week, and another busy week for me in clinic, which is why I've chosen today's theme, letting go. I'm just trying to think if anything else happened of significance this week. Not really. Mainly just meeting Kim, the highlight of my week. And then just busy in my Zumba classes, busy healing people and helping people to heal. For those who haven't listened to me before, I am a kinesiologist. I started studying kinesiology in 2014, qualified 3 years later. 2 years, because I did a diploma and then I went on to the advanced diploma. So I've spent all these years listening to people and their trauma and, their issues in life and what has affected them and their patterns. And you learn a lot. You really do learn a lot being a therapist. And I think it definitely makes you more compassionate as a human being, because you see that we've all been through things. None of us are getting out of this life scot-free. Like, at some point, something really hard comes into our life that we have to deal with. Some of us have been through hard things our whole life, right? So yeah, it's a privilege to help people on that journey and to see them changing over time and changing their patterns and evolving back into the person they were always supposed to be, right? Because that's healing. It's not about changing into a new person. It's remembering who you were when you were born. Everybody else puts their things on top of us, their beliefs, their values, their opinions, and we end up in this place where we don't even know who we are. So it is a privilege to help people heal from their past. I love my job. I love being a Zumba instructor too, helping women to get fit, to lose weight, to feel good about themselves. So, and obviously love being a radio presenter on here too. So I'm going to start the show by playing one of my favourite clips on from YouTube. This is Medea, who talks about letting go.
Lead you in the right direction.
I hear you, Medea. What am I supposed to do now?
Get up and go on with your life. It's all right to sit around, be depressed for a minute, cry about it, do whatever you have to, but don't stay there too long. Get up and go on with your life. So you know what this is what I learned in all these years on this earth. If somebody want to walk out of your life, let them go. Especially if you know you done everything you can do, you done sat around and been the best man or the best woman you could be, and they still want to go, let them go. Whatever they running after, they'll see what they had in a minute, but by then it's going to be too late. Because you'll sit there and you'll go, because half these people you be sitting around crying about it, worry about 2-3 years from now, you ain't going to even remember their last name. How many times you done seen folks somewhere, you be like, what the hell was I thinking? I done been there, I be like, what was wrong with me? What was I going through? I must have been lonely as hell to hook up with you. Let folks go, son. Some people come in your life for a lifetime, some come for a season. You got to know which is which. And you're going to always mess up when you mix them seasonal people up with lifetime expectations. You can't, they got people that done got married with people they was only supposed to be with for a season. They done got married to people they only supposed to be with for a season and wonder why they having so much hell in their life. That was the person that was supposed to come and teach you one thing. You didn't know it, so you just fell in love. And now you wonder why you ain't got no peace, no way you go. No. Listen, I put everybody that come in my life in the category of a tree. Some people are like leaves on a tree. The wind blow, they over here. They unstable. The blow the other way, they over here. Ain't nothing. Season change, they wither and die. They gone. That's all right. That's some people. Most people in the world are like that. They just there to take from the tree. They ain't there to do nothing but take and give shade every now and then. That's all they can do. But don't get mad at people like that. That's who they are. They ain't gonna never be nothing. That's what they put on this earth to be, but be what they are, a leaf. Some people are like a branch on that tree. You gotta be careful with them branches too, because they'll fool you. They'll get there and make you think they're a good friend and they're real strong, but the minute you step out there on them, they'll break and leave you high and dry. But if you find you 2 or 3 people in your life that's like the roots at the bottom of that tree, you are blessed, because that's them the kind of people that ain't going nowhere. They ain't worried about being seen. Don't nobody have to know that they know you. They ain't got to know what they doing for you. But if them roots wasn't there, that tree couldn't live. You understand? And they ain't got a tree can have 100 million branches, but only a few roots down at the bottom to make sure it get everything it need. I'm telling you something. When you get you some roots, hold on to them. But the rest of them, let it go. Just let it go. Let folks go.
It's not always that easy.
Ain't nobody said it was going to be easy, but it'll get easy when you learn how to love yourself. When you get to a point in your life where you look at people and you go, okay, wait a minute, you or me, you will make a decision. Because when you telling folks to do something, and I never throw nobody away. I've never in my life just thrown nobody away. Just say, look, don't bother me no more, don't talk to me. I've never done that. What I do is I tell you, say, look, this thing you doing right here, that's going to cause a problem. You need to fix that, because if we're going to be friends, we're going to be cool, you got to fix that. And if you don't, we're going to have an issue. If you see somebody fix it, or they even trying to fix it, that's somebody that care. Keep them people around. That's a leaf that's trying to grow up and be something else. You understand? But if you tell somebody that what you're doing is hurting me and I need you to stop it, and they keep doing it, they don't care. Move on. Let them go. No matter how much it hurt, let them go. And it'll get easier. I promise you, every day it'll get easier and easier and easier. But you just got to make it through. You hear me, Sonny? And see, you got to learn how to be by yourself, son. People have to learn how to be alone. I don't understand all these people. Oh, I need somebody. Lord, where's my man? Lord, where's my woman? That is crazy as hell. If you don't know how to be by yourself, what you going to do with somebody else? Stop praying about it. Shut up and wait. Go work on you. Hell, that's what that time is for, to get yourself together. I'd rather be in a corner by myself with a puppy and a goldfish and be happy than to be sitting around with somebody in my house. I'm wondering what the hell they there for. You would be surprised the things people put up with just to have somebody to say they love them. I don't understand. I can't live in dysfunction. I'm sorry. I done been through too much hell and high water to come there and let you come up in my adult life and when I'm supposed to be at peace and give me all kind of hell. Only two places on this earth you're going to have peace, the grave and your house. Now, if you can't walk up in your house and you ain't got no peace, something wrong. I'm sorry. People be rebuking Satan. I be rebuking Satan and beating the hell out of everything that's up in there till they get out. I'm sorry. You got to go. This is mine. You hear me, Sonny?
I do.
For sure. You better hear me for sure.
I love that. Hey. Oh, I think I turned myself up too much. A woman after my own heart. Season,
if you're a coach,
reason,
practitioner, or health...
Season, reason, and a lifetime. And I love, even in that speech, she talks about loving yourself, which is something that I teach, right? If you go to my website, kerrychristie.com, it's all about self-love and healing. And she also says about learning to be alone. And you do see that this day and age, that some people really do struggle to do that self-love journey. They really do struggle to be alone. They would rather be with somebody, even if that somebody isn't right for them, rather than be alone. So, and don't forget, it doesn't always just mean your romantic relationships. Season, reason, lifetime can apply to your friends, to jobs. I do believe that people come in and out of our lives, and some will stay with us forever, and other people come in just to teach us our lesson. There's something that we need to learn, or there's something that we need to look at, and so those people get brought into our life for a very short period of time. It might be a month, it might be a year, and then they go again. And then there's the same with the reason. There is a reason that everybody comes into our life. And some people do get brought in order for you to learn something, to grow, to evolve. When I look back at what I used to allow into my life, there is no way I would allow that into my life anymore. I just wouldn't tolerate the behaviors and the way people have spoken to me in the past or manipulated me, abused me. But I would not have become this person had I not had those people in my life. And so you see, the challenge isn't figuring out which one they are. It's knowing when it's time to let go with love and gratitude. So with that, let's get on to the first song, which is called Landslide.
I took my love, took it down. I climbed a mountain and I turned around, and I saw my reflection in snow-covered hills till the landslide brought me down. Oh, mirror in the sky, what is love? Can the child within my heart rise above? Can I sail through the changing ocean tides? Can I handle the seasons of my life? Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you. But time makes you bolder, even children And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, where the landslide will bring it down. And if you see my reflection in the snow-covered hills, well, the landslide will bring it down. Oh, the landslide will bring it down.
Landslide by Fleetwood Mac, the beautiful line in that song, I've been afraid of changing. Where have you been afraid of changing? You do hear many people say that, don't you? Oh, they're trying to change me. Why are we so afraid of change? You know, perhaps the hardest lesson isn't about meeting new people, new challenges, new relationships. Maybe it's knowing when to let go. Because before we can let go, we first have to admit we're still holding on. So why do we hold on to people, things, dreams, jobs? I think because it's what we know versus the unknown, isn't it? It's where we're comfortable. We know this side of life. We know that person. We know that job. Even, you know, for me the other week having to go to a new gym, I'd been at my gym for over 7 years and I was comfortable there. You walk in, you know the environment, you know the people, and then you go to a new gym and it's a new environment, new people, you don't know anybody, you don't know what to do, you stand there feeling a bit uncomfortable. Same with jobs, right? You might not like the job that you've got. In fact, you hate it every day. You wake up dreading going to work, but it's comfortable. You know you get paid, you know your boss, you know his moods, her moods. And so putting a CV together and then having to apply for jobs, even going to interviews. Same as dating. Dating this day and age is not easy. You know, years ago we would be out in a bar or a club, especially when you're in your 20s, and you would meet someone, you wouldn't even really think about it. And now there's these dating apps where you go on the app, you try to strike up a conversation, and then you have to go and meet this person, which is super awkward. You know, my mum told me never to talk to strangers, and there you are, meeting a complete stranger in a bar somewhere or a coffee shop, and then having to go through that whole awkwardness. Do I like them? Do I not like them? Is this person for me? And then if they're not for you, having to have that whole conversation about them not being for you. It isn't easy. But sometimes we do have to learn that we're not supposed to keep everything in our life forever. And at some point we do have to let go. And over the years, you know, I've watched so much. I've watched abuse in families, and I've heard people say things like, well, blood is thicker than water. So it's an excuse to stay in an abusive relationship. What? Because you're tied by blood, because it's your family. So what? You have to accept somebody abusing you, who takes your self-esteem, your self-worth, who makes you feel crap about yourself just because they're a family member. And then, you know, I see people's confidence and self-esteem get destroyed. Mine was the same, you know, destroyed my self-worth, my self-confidence, simply because you feel like you have to stay for a reason. Some people are afraid of being alone. I see so many people around me like that, where, especially in the dating scene, where you know that person isn't for them, but they really just do not want to be alone again or anymore. And so they make excuses for that person. And when they're talking to you, you can see that the person they're talking about isn't for them, but they just don't want to be alone. Or they'll even admit that, oh, well, you know, it's somebody for now. It's somebody to hang out with. But what if holding on to that person means that you're not bringing in the correct person? Like Medea said in that YouTube clip, you know, you've got to let people go in order to bring in what is meant for you. So many people, I do believe, have ended up in marriages with the person that was meant to be for a reason or a season. And because they weren't brave enough to let go of that person, they've now ended up with the wrong person, their season and reason. Not the person that could have been the lifetime and the person that they could have been like extremely happy with. Now they're with somebody that they don't particularly like and that, they're arguing with all the time. They rub them up the wrong way. They don't spend any time together. You've seen them yourself sitting out in cafes and pubs, and they don't talk to each other. They literally sit there on their phones. They don't talk. They don't communicate. They don't kiss anymore. They don't make the effort for each other. So why can't they let go? Some of that's going to be society as well, right? Or religion. They've been told that they're not allowed to leave their marriage. They're shamed for leaving their marriage. So even people holding on to versions of themselves, and not wanting to change, or it's hard doing the work and looking at yourself and you're in a child pain, your shadow, because changing means stepping into uncertainty. And the funny thing is, our minds are wired to seek certainty, not necessarily happiness. We'd often rather stay with what's predictable than risk what's possible. But growth rarely happens inside our comfort zone. With that, we're going to play our next song, which is, of course, Hold On by Wilson Phillips.
I know this pain. Why do you lock yourself up in these chains? No one can change your life except for you. Don't ever let anyone step all over you. Just open your heart and your mind. Is it really fair to feel this way inside? Oh, someday somebody's gonna make you wanna turn around and say goodbye. Until then, baby, are you gonna let him hold you down and make you cry? Don't you know, things will change, things will go your way if you hold on for one more day. Can you hold on for one more day? Things will go your way. Hold on for one more day. Change, things will go your way if you hold on for one more day. If you hold on for one more day, things will go your way. Hold on for one more day. I know that there is pain, but you hold on for one more day and you break free from the chains. Yeah, I know that there is pain, but you hold on for one more day and you break free, break from the chains. Someday somebody's gonna make you wanna turn around and say goodbye. Until then, baby, are you gonna let him hold you down and make you cry? Don't you know, things will change, things will go your way if you hold on for one more day. Yeah, hold on. Don't you know things will change, things will go your way if you hold on for one more day. Can you hold on? Can you hold on? Can you hold on, baby? Won't you tell me now? Hold on for one more day, 'cause it's gonna
Hold On by Wilson Phillips. So, what is the cost of holding on? Have you noticed how exhausting it is to carry something that's become too heavy? Not just physically, but emotionally. Regret, guilt, anger, resentment. I often have likened this in the past to carrying a backpack. I've spoken about this on a previous show, where it's almost like we have a backpack on our bag that's empty, and then through life, bit by bit, there's another stone, another pebble that's put into that backpack. Something happens to us, we're bullied at school, we have shame, we live in fear, and then, a teacher humiliates us, and now we carry that for the rest of our lives. We can't public speak because we're so shamed. We get into a relationship and that goes wrong, and then we fear getting into another relationship, or there's issues within that relationship, and then we struggle to forgive that person for how they treated us. And so there we are, carrying around this backpack, constantly talking about our backpack and feeling the weight of the emotion. So imagine for one moment that you could just put your backpack down, no matter what has happened to you, no matter, how bad things got or how somebody treated you. What if you could simply just take off that backpack and lay it down? And so here's my question. What are you carrying that you no longer need? You just think about that for one moment. What is it that you're carrying that today you could release? Like, is it a mistake from years ago? Was it words that somebody spoke that still hurt? Is it a relationship that ended? Or is it guilt? Or, where haven't we forgiven ourselves? What if you could just, for one moment, lay that backpack down and not keep going over and over the past and what happened and why it happened and why me? What if we just lay it down and like today's a fresh start? And we're no longer going to allow our past to affect our present and therefore our future.
You've been losing sleep, crying in the dark, trying to hold the weight of a broken heart. You smile for the world, but inside it's pain. You pray but feel like nothing's changed. You're trying to fix it, trying to stay strong, but some battles ain't yours to fight alone. You've done all you can, now here's the key. Peace starts when you set it free. Let go, let God, He already knows every tear, every burden, every low. You were meant to break just to prove you tried. Some storms are only His to fight. It ain't worth your peace, it ain't worth your tears. You don't have to carry what He's willing to clear. Take your hands off, let Him do His part. Let go and let God. You keep blaming yourself for what you couldn't change. Keep rehearsing the past, reliving the pain. But healing don't come from holding on tight. Sometimes strength is knowing when to surrender the fight. It's okay to fall, it's okay to rest. It's okay to say, Lord, I did my best. Now watch how He moves when you step aside. Sometimes your silence gives Him room to provide. Let go, let God, give Him control. It ain't your job to carry every soul. You weren't built to bleed for every scar. Some things are only healed by who Kerry was crushing your soul. You just need to trust and let it go. Your peace is sacred, your heart deserves light, and joy don't have to come with a fight. So walk away, even if it's hard. You empty it.
Let Go, Let God by Zania Monet. Such a beautiful song. Hey, like, even if you don't believe in God or a higher power out there, you know, songs like that can be very powerful. I do believe there's a higher power out there, and sometimes you have to ask for help and support from that higher power. So even though there's going to be times where we choose to let go of something, sometimes there's also going to be times where we don't choose. Sometimes life changes without asking our permission. We wake up one morning and life just isn't the same as it was yesterday. And sometimes we're not prepared for what's coming. If you think back to what happened during COVID, we all take for granted our freedom, our ability to drive where we want to drive, go to work, see our friends, see our family. And then suddenly overnight, was that 2019, 2020, our whole world changed. And suddenly we had restrictions. We weren't allowed to even go and see our family, our friends. We couldn't work. You know, great in a way that it forced us to spend time with loved ones instead of pursuing money and, you know, our career and friends and alcohol. But it changed overnight, didn't it? It definitely made me think more and not take things for granted. And then, like this week, I found out that my mum is not doing so well. You know, and I thought, we all know that our parents are not going to be here forever. But again, it's one of those things that you don't really think about when your parents are alive, you know? And although I've had issues with my mum as a youngster, as most of us do, you know, me and my mum had a beautiful relationship. And while she's in the UK and I'm in Australia, we've spent many hours chatting on the phone. We've talked about the past. She's said sorry, you know, I've said sorry. We've talked about what happened and why it happened, you know, and I forgive her. Our parents are all just doing the best job that they know how at the time, is what I came to realise. That was something that was said to me during my studies, during kinesiology. One of our lecturers said, no parent means to hurt their child. They're just living from their own wounds. And, you know, a few months ago, my mum fell and broke her hip. And I just knew, because she's not active, you know, she doesn't exercise, probably doesn't look after her diet as well as she could. She lives alone. And we know the stats on broken hips, which is why I promote exercise so much and, you know, eating healthily, because I've seen the other side. I worked in hospitals. I've worked in old people's homes, nursing homes. So I see what can potentially happen. And I found out this morning via my brother that she's not doing well. Like, she's not been answering her messages from me. I've not been able to get hold of her. And I just knew there was something not right. And my brother has messaged to say, yeah, she's not doing well. And in that moment it hits you, because you're like, oh, what, like, this could be it. Like, I'll never get to talk to my mom ever again. And now I've got to, you know, deal with, this is the downside of being an immigrant, right? And being so many miles away from your family. Because for me to go back now and see my mum, it's a day's plane ride. I've got to get that organised. I've got to get over there. So, you know, it's not easy. But even the thought of, like, not being able to just pick up the phone and, you know, I talk to my mum about everything, like all my relationships and what's going on in my life. And she always listens and she always gives advice. And so I would say, if you have any issues with your parents, sort them out.
And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance. I hope you dance. I hope you never fear those mountains in the distance. Never settle for the path of least resistance. Living might mean taking chances, but they're worth taking. Loving might be a mistake, but it's worth making. Don't let some helping heart leave you bitter. When you come close to selling out, reconsider. Give the heavens above more than just a passing glance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, I hope you dance.
Is a wheel in constant motion, always rolling us along.
I hope
Tell
you
me
dance.
who wants to look back on their youth and wonder
hope you
where those years have gone.
I hope you still feel small when you stand beside the ocean. Whenever one door closes, I hope one more opens. Promise me that you'll give faith a fighting chance. And when you get the choice to sit it out or dance, dance. I hope you dance. I hope you dance.
Is a wheel in constant motion,
I hope you
rolling us along.
I hope
Tell
you
me
dance.
who wants to look back on their youth and
I
wonder
hope
where
you
those years
dance.
have gone. Tell me who wants to look back on their youth and wonder where those years have gone.
I Hope You Dance by Leanne Womack. Okay, I've got my tissues, don't worry everybody. I had a little cry during that song. It's going to happen, right? It happens to all of us. None of us are getting out of here alive. But I haven't lost a parent yet. So I've lost grandparents, but this will be the first parent. And so that's going to be hard. And even making that decision, to travel to the UK when that time comes is not going to be easy. So I would say, yeah, if you are struggling with any family members in your life at the moment, I mean, let's put it in context. As long as they're not abusive, if they're abusing you, you can't sort things out, right? But if you look at it and actually it's because you had a difference of opinion or somebody said something wrong, life is too short. Why aren't we going and making amends? Why aren't we going and talking things through with that person? So I would, if there's anything that you take from this show today, if anybody is struggling with family members, go and try and sort it out before it's too late. And change is inevitable, right? But growth is optional. And sometimes the greatest act of courage is simply trusting that the next chapter hasn't been written yet. Think back to something you experienced, something that you went through, a change that you once dreaded. And look back now, and did it break you? Or did it quietly become the turning point for your life? And if you've listened to me before on this show, you will have heard me talk about the soul's journey. And that is something that helps me to get through this crazy thing called life. It is my belief system. I don't, expect anybody else to have the same belief, but it's definitely helped me over the years, knowing that for me, I believe that life is a journey of the soul, and that perhaps letting go isn't about losing someone or something. It's about honouring what it gave us and saying thank you for the lesson and trusting that the journey continues. You know, if you imagine if we are little souls sat up there in source and, you know, we agree to incarnate with certain souls, we have contracts and we come down here and they play their contract out with us. And sometimes that isn't love. Sometimes it's the opposite. But that's exactly what they're doing, you know. They're giving us our lessons. We're growing, we're evolving because of that person or that job. You know, it's not always people. You know, we come in and we have certain jobs and we learn something from being in that position. And our friends too, you know, friends come and go. And sometimes they come in and then you realise that actually this person isn't for you and they've taught you your lesson, and maybe your lesson was just boundaries. How to have boundaries with people, how to stand up for yourself, how to say no, how to not be abused. And then you have to let that person go. And so that for me has definitely helped me to let people go, is understanding and knowing that they're on their journey and I simply do have to let them go and take that journey.
If you only knew the nights I cried, praying to God, asking Him why, smiling in the crowd but broken inside, carrying a weight I could never describe. I lost friends, lost love, even lost myself. Had a Bible in my hand but still needed help. I was down so low with nowhere to run, but somehow the morning still brought me the sun. These are the lessons life gave me for free. Every scar on my heart turned me into me. If you ever been broken, then you understand.
That was If Only You Knew by Zania Monet. So how do you know when it's time to let go? So let's think about relationships first, marriages. I think years ago, people did stay in their marriages more so than we do this day and age. But that doesn't mean it was right. We know that there was a lots of abuse happening in those relationships, but years ago, women couldn't leave because they relied on their husband to provide for them. Whereas now, women are out there, they're in the workplace, they do have a bit more independence. But in saying that, I still work with people from domestic abuse or that are in domestic abuse relationships. And I know that sometimes still they get stuck in that marriage because of the children and the home. And it's not easy for them to walk away. It is slightly easier for men to walk away because men generally keep their career, whereas the woman has the children, she has to take the break, the maternity leave. Sometimes she gives her career up completely in order to raise those children, which, I'm a bit old-fashioned. I think that is still the way we should do it. I'm not saying for women not to have a job, but, we're now handing our children over to strangers, for the strangers to raise. We're losing that family connection. So when do you leave the marriage? Well, if it's abuse, right? If you are struggling in your marriage and you've tried everything, you've spoken to the person, you've been for counselling and nothing is changing and it's affecting you day in, day out, your self-worth, your self-esteem, you're being controlled, then you do have to leave. There's people out there that are fully abusing their partner in those marriages, in those relationships. And whilst it isn't easy to leave, you do have to make a plan to leave. What about friendships? Well, there's always going to be those friendships where there's not much give and take. It's more you giving and them taking. So again, you've got to look at what you're getting also from the relationship. It's okay for us to give, and we are supposed to give as humans, but when you're constantly giving and somebody is just taking or they're using you, they only want to see you when it suits them, they only pick up the phone when they're in trouble, they need some help, they need some support. You can still be their friend, but you have to put your boundaries in place. You have to recognise that you are overgiving and step back a little bit. And again, even with friends, we can help them. We can try to help guide them, give them advice, give them the support. But if they're not making the move to change and it's affecting you, I've had that in my life, with a friend in the past where she was struggling with her mental health, but then it was affecting me because instead of her ringing her husband, she was reaching out to me, and then I'd go around and she was drinking alcohol. And I'd left my family to go and help her, and she was laughing and thought it was hilarious. People like that, I'm happy to walk away from. People that are hurting you, people that are using you. You have to for your own mental health and well-being. So what about your job? Again, I see people struggling in their careers and their jobs, and they've got bosses that are abusive or talking to them a certain way, putting them down. They dread going to work. They dread going to work every day. And you've got to question, life's too short, surely, to keep waking up in the morning and dreading going to work. But again, we can sometimes get stuck, especially, I don't know how the UK is going at the minute, America, but I know in Australia, it's not that easy to get a job at the moment. And so sometimes it's easier to stay because you've got that wage, right, to cover your mortgage, to cover your rent. You can't just walk out of your job. You've got to put a plan in place. But isn't it better to put that plan in place than to wake up every day dreading going to that place of work? And then, if there's any conflict in the workplace and bullying, we know this still happens. Even though there's all this awareness now around bullying and we talk about bullying in schools and it must stop, there's also lots of bullying that goes on in the workplace. I treat clients who are being bullied in the workplace. You know yourself, you've probably got friends or family members that are also being bullied in the workplace. So again, that's when you start making a plan to leave. You do start applying for other jobs and going out there. And then there's also things like habits. You know, sometimes we struggle to let go of our habits. Social media is a huge one at the moment. You know, we live on our phones at the moment. There is so many platforms. And, you know, with doing what I do now for a living, I am on a lot of those platforms. But what I do is I make sure I don't spend a lot of time scrolling, or what we say consuming. I would rather create than consume. But even that I sometimes struggle with, because you're like, well, I'm telling people to get off social media and watch their mental health, and here I am creating content to keep them on the platforms. Like, sometimes to me it doesn't make sense, right? But then I've also seen how some of my content has helped people. I've had people admit that they were ready to go, and then they scrolled and came across my live stream and started listening, and that's turned their life around. So again, it's getting that balance, but I've not been spending as much time on social media because I did see how it was affecting my mental health. And sometimes you're just mindlessly scrolling and you're not really even enjoying the content. You might come across one or two videos that are funny or are interesting, and the rest, it's just mindless scrolling. So are you struggling to let go of your social media? Are you scrolling on there? How many hours are you spending? What else could you be doing in life? You know, I've watched people tell me that they haven't got time to cook for themselves, haven't got time to go to the shop and buy healthy food, but I can guarantee they're scrolling on their phone for 2-3 hours a day. Haven't got time to exercise, haven't got time to go for a walk, but there they are, still scrolling on social media. And then we've got the addictions, like the smoking, the alcohol, the gambling, whatever it is that is an addiction, and we really struggle to let go of that. And again, it's because it's easier to just pick up the cigarette, right, than to go and actually get help to stop it. Imagine the amount of money people save by giving up smoking, but they can't. It's easier to carry on with the addiction than to try and break it. So there's all sorts of things, you know, that we need to try and let go of, not just relationships. But it's not easy because we've got our subconscious wiring. So the wiring in your brain is shorter and it's faster. So that's why it's hard to break away from people or to break away from addictions and habits, because your brain's wired. It's a habit, right? You've done it so many times that that's just the norm now. So for your brain to now do something different, it has to lay down new wiring, like new connections, and that takes time and it takes energy. Your brain doesn't want to do that. So it goes, go on, just one more. Go on, just have one more cigarette. Go on, ring that person, see them once more. Won't hurt. I'll start again. That we'll go no contact on Monday. Your brain does that to you, right? You'll see it yourself. Or you break up with somebody, and instead of remembering the bad times, your brain always remembers the good times. It remembers how it felt in those good times, but you forget all the terrible times. So your brain is so clever at doing that. It thinks it's keeping you safe, but it's kind of not. So, you know, where do you think that, what do you need to let go of? So choosing to say goodbye isn't about giving up. It's about recognizing that holding on is costing more than letting go. And goodbyes are rarely about closing a door on someone or something. More often, they're about opening a door for yourself.
I took a page out of your favorite book. You sold me lies just by the way you look. Taught me a language that I'll never speak. Baby, that ain't for me. That ain't for me.
The Door by Teddy Swims. So after we've said goodbye, how do we truly let go? I mean, what if we've had to let go of somebody that has hurt us? What if we've had to let go of a job where we were being bullied or, abused? How do we truly let go? Well, the answer sometimes lies in forgiveness. But that's probably one of the most misunderstood words in our language. We hear about this all the time, don't we? Oh, you've just got to forgive. People often think that forgiving means forgetting or excusing or pretending that something didn't hurt. And I don't believe that that's what forgiveness is. From a spiritual perspective, the heart chakra, so we have the 7 chakras that run up our body, spinning wheels of light. The heart chakra is love, forgiveness, and compassion. And that often starts with ourself. It begins with self-forgiveness. So if you got into a relationship with somebody that you shouldn't have been with, can you forgive yourself for not knowing better at the time and ignoring the red flags? Because if you look back through your life, you will have had some intuition about that person. They will have done something or been acting a certain way, and you chose to ignore it. So can you forgive yourself first for getting into that relationship? Can you forgive yourself for staying too long? If you're in a job, if you're in a friendship, and you know that that person is not right for you, can you forgive yourself for allowing yourself to be in that relationship? So can you always forgive? Not always. I sometimes struggle to forgive people, but again, I try to look at it on the spiritual side. So if we are souls, who knows? If we are souls that have come here to have lessons with other souls, makes it a little bit easier, right? Because you go, oh, okay, so I needed to learn this and that emotion and I needed to grow. So I had to have that person in my life to learn my lesson and to have the growth that I've had. But on the human level, it can be really hard. Like when I've listened to what some people have gone through in their lives, I understand why people can't forgive. Especially when they've been children and, they've had some horrendous things done to them as children. To be able to turn around and truly forgive that person or those people for what they did is really difficult. And I never tell anybody that they have to forgive people. You can try, and in that process, you can feel freer and lighter, but it's a really hard thing to do. You see, forgiveness doesn't change the past, but it can change your future. There's a quote from Lewis B. Smedes that says, "To forgive is to set a prisoner free and discover that the prisoner was you."
Give away, and the last thing on your mind today, it always goes to those who don't deserve. It's the opposite of how you feel when the pain they caused is just too real. Takes everything you have to say the word forgiveness. Forgiveness. In the face of all your pride, it moves away the mad inside. It's always anger's own worst enemy. Even when the jury and the judge say you got a right to hold a grudge, it's the whisper in your ear saying set it free. Forgiveness. It'll clear the bitterness away. It can even set a prisoner free. There is no end to what its power can do. So let it go and be amazed by what you see through eyes of grace. The prisoner that it really frees is you. Forgiveness. Forgiveness.
Forgiveness by Matthew West. See, that song was such a beautiful song. Hey, that line in it, love the unlovable. It was actually inspired by a true story. So Renee Napier forgave Eric Smallridge, whose drunk driving caused the death of her daughter, Megan Napier. Apparently Matthew read that story and then he met Renee and wrote that song after asking himself if he could have forgiven that drunk driver. So songs are so beautiful, hey, they really make, like, you really listen to that song, you really feel it, don't you? And when they say certain lines, it really makes you reflect on your own life. I also have a friend, you know, that was attacked in her own home, and as she left, she believes that she saw God in that moment and that he helped her to escape. And as she was escaping from the house, she was told to turn around and forgive that man for what he'd just done. And she did. She said she saw it was almost like a thread that was connecting her to this man. And as soon as she said, I forgive you, the thread broke. And then she has written her book about what happened, and that has helped her come to terms also with that and her healing. So it's a big subject, forgiveness. I'll probably cover it on another show separately because it is one of those things that is hard to do. And the things that I suggest for my clients to do is write a letter. If you're struggling to forgive somebody, sit down with a pen and paper, maybe light a candle, sit quietly, play some gentle music, and write a letter to the person that you need to forgive. Or, you know, if that's too much, then go and seek assistance from a therapist, a counsellor, you know, talk it through with them, get them to help you do that letter or talk it through. But see how that feels also in the moment. Like, how would it feel to write a letter of forgiveness to somebody that has hurt you in the past? And some people you can forgive, right? Some people, you know, if someone cuts you up in traffic, or I don't know, somebody's mean to you, then that's easy to forgive. But I'm talking about the real deep forgiveness, when it's family, when it's your ex-partner that's abused you or done something horrendous. Like, it's not easy to forgive those people. But I definitely feel that songs help in these moments, you know, when you really want to think about something, how it's affected you. And this is the song that I'm going to play next, is one of those songs that has definitely helped me with my forgiveness.
light the fire, stories of pain that never expire, but holding it tight was breaking me down. Now I lay it low, I turn it around. I forgive you for me, to set me free. Drop the anchors and live my life at ease. No more shadows, only clarity. I forgive you for me. I forgive you for me, to set me free. Drop the anchors and live my life at ease. No more shadows, only clarity. I forgive you for me.
The hook is gone, the tether untied, the burden falls, the storm subsides. Love is my voice, compassion my guide. I stand in the light with open eyes. I forgive you for me, to set me free. Drop the anchors and live my life at ease. No more shadows, only clarity. I forgive you for me. Every lesson made me strong, every scar became a song. I rise, I shine, I now belong to love that's been here all along. I forgive you to set me free. Drop the anchors and live my life at ease. No more shadows, only clarity. I forgive you for me. I release the heavy weight. Peace flows into my being. The shadows dissolve, the layers. I rise in wholeness, nothing missing. Forgive you for me, to set me free. Drop the anchors and live my life at ease. No more shadows, only clarity. I forgive you for me. I release the heavy weight. Peace flows into my being. The shadows dissolve, the light remains.
Powerful song, hey. I Forgive You for Me by the Good Vibes Tribe. If you want to add that to your playlist, very powerful song. And sometimes we forgive, but we still try to control the outcome. You know, we want answers, we want justice, we want closure or certainty. But peace often begins the moment we stop trying to control things that were never ours to control. And I experienced that myself a few years ago with my son as I was suffering abuse. And I had to let go. You know, I fought as hard as I could. I went through the court process. I tried to be the best mum that I could, but it was a losing battle, because on the other side of the fence was the abusive family who were saying things to him and talking to him and telling him that, you know, I wasn't right and the discipline I was putting in place. And as much as I was fighting and I wanted to keep him, I came to the conclusion that I had to let go. And even when my lawyer was like, we're going to fight, Kerry, we're going to turn this over, and he produced me this whole document, you know, ready to lodge, and I just knew in that moment that I couldn't do it. And it wasn't just letting go for myself, it was letting go for my son also, because he was also being abused. You know, when a parent is using parental alienation and saying things to a child against the other parent and constantly saying things, you know, that child is going through abuse. And so actually it was not easier, but it was better for me to let go, knowing that the abuse would then stop for him. Because the longer I kept that child with me, my child with me, the more he would suffer that abuse from his father, because it wouldn't stop. It would be continual. What's she doing? Where is she? Is she there? Like, some of the things I heard were horrendous. Like, I had the opportunity to listen to prison phone calls of my ex saying things to my children, and it's horrendous, the things that were said to them. No parent wants to hear another parent saying such things to a child, knowing that, you know, that child is part of you. You know, you are part of them. And for them to have to listen to things that they should never, ever be exposed to was the hardest thing. But I knew in that moment that I simply had to let go and let that soul go and do its journey, and hope and pray that one day he would understand what's happened and would come back. But I've also had to grieve the future and understand that that might not happen. You know, he might forever believe what he was told about me, and it wires their brain. You know, they do believe what they are told eventually. And so I've had to grieve that future. I've had to let go of the future that I dreamed of. I always wanted children as a young girl. You know, I loved being a mom. I wasn't one of them parents that like moaned about their oh, thank goodness they're going back to school after holidays. Like, I loved spending time with my children. And my vision was, you know, I would have Christmases with them and the grandchildren, and we'd all be together. And now there's a real possibility that that won't actually happen for me. So I've had to grieve even that future and let it go, and just know that, you know, maybe in another lifetime I had my children and it was all happy, and this lifetime I had to come and experience this. So as much as I fought over the years to protect those children, I couldn't. It was too much, and I had to let go. But that doesn't mean I gave up. I just let them go, just for a little while.
I will fight for you. I always do, until my heart is black and blue. And I will stay with you. We'll make it to the other side, like lovers do. I'll reach my hands out in the dark and wait for yours to enter like a
Now I'll hold on to you. No matter what this world will throw, it won't shake me loose. I'll reach my hands out in the dark and wait for yours to until I can wait for you. I'll wait for you. 'Cause I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up, no, not yet. Even when I'm down to my last breath. Even when they say there's nothing left. So don't give up on. I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up, no, not me. Even when nobody else believes. I'm not going down that easily. So don't give up on me. I will fight for you. I always do until my heart is black and blue.
Don't Give Up by Andy Grammer. I've always loved that song. But, you know, there comes a time when love asks something different of us. It asks us to trust, to step back, to let go of control. Not because we care less, but because we know they have their own journey to walk. And for me, that was one of the hardest things I have ever done, and perhaps one of the greatest acts of love. And sometimes with anything in our life, you know, maybe sometimes we have to let go for a little while, not forever, but sometimes we have to walk away from those relationships whilst that person goes and works on themselves. You know, sometimes we're in these relationships and we're enabling them. And so we have to walk away in order for them to go and work things out themselves, in order for them to go and heal. I mean, it might mean that eventually we can reconnect. The same with our friends, you know. How many times have you sort of, you know, let go of a friend or not spoken to someone, and then years later they come back into your life and you sort it out? And again, it goes back to that season, reason, lifetime. If that's something that you can just carry with you and remember that even if it's family, even if it's your children or your parents or a sibling, sometimes you have to let go, one, for your own mental health and sanity, and two, you have to let go so that they can go and do their journey.
It's 7:30 and I'm late. They're calling at the airport gate. We are running out of time. I have to go and stand in line. I know you love me, but now it's time to let me go. And I know you're sad, but please don't cry. After all, it's not goodbye. We're just letting go for a little while. And with your final words you lied when you tell me you'll be fine. You even faked a smile before I disappear behind the door. My heart is beating against the walls inside my chest, but I can go back anytime. After all, it's not goodbye. We're just letting go for a little while. For a little while. guess all that's left to say is I will miss you each and every day. Now as I stand here on my own, I'm filled with memories of home and all the friends that I have known. I realize how much we've grown. It feels like only yesterday that we would walk down Butcher Lane. But I can go back anytime. After all, it's not goodbye. We're just letting go for a little while. For a little while. And I hope they know that I will always hold them close. We're just letting go for a little while.
Letting Go for a Little While by Ryan McMullen. You see, and I think sometimes doing the job that I do, when you work in therapy, I think some people think that we don't go through things, or we're not supposed to feel emotions or get upset or, ever get triggered, and our lives are supposed to be perfect. But we do go through them times. I find it hard myself to forgive people. I struggle to forgive the family that abused me. I hope one day I can find it in my heart to do that. But at the moment, it's still too raw. I find it hard to let go of my children's belongings. I still have a lot of my children's belongings. And it takes a while for me to build up the courage to go and look at those belongings. And, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to go today. I'm going to do it. I'm going to let it go. And then you stand there looking at it and you're like, maybe not today. I'll do it another day. So, I'm not a perfect human being, as I've said many times on this show. I still have my things and my issues to work through. So if you are struggling to let go of anything today, please know that it's okay. There is no time. There's no pressure. You don't have to do things today or tomorrow. Like it's all a process. You see, even as therapists, we haven't mastered letting go. We've just learnt to trust the process. I just know to be kind and compassionate with myself. I know it's part of my journey, my soul journey, and I've got things to learn still. There's things that I still need to work through and come to terms with. And maybe forgiveness is one of those things that I came into this lifetime wanting to master. I was told at the age of 20 by numerologists that the reason I was in this lifetime was to learn unconditional love and to teach love, which is funny because that's now what I do. And like my journey led me there, even though I've kind of known in the back of my mind, I haven't purposefully gone through my life, I've got to teach people about love. I still don't know if I'm doing what it is I'm supposed to do, even though I teach self-love and I help people to heal from pain and trauma. For all I know, I might not have even touched what it is I'm really here to do. And I'm okay with that process. Maybe this is all I am supposed to do. Maybe it's just my kinesiology, my radio show, teaching people how to heal. Who knows? But I just know that even when we do this as a job, life is still hard. It is still hard to let go of people that are not right for us, or roles, or whatever it is. So please don't beat yourself up if you are in that process and you are struggling. Don't give up.
saw it all around. Never thought that I could be a fainting. Thought that we'd be last to go. It is so strange the way things turn. Drove the night toward my home, the place that I was born, on the lakeside. As daylight broke, I saw the earth, the trees had burned down to the ground.
Don't give up, you still have us. Don't give up, we don't need much of anything. Don't give up, 'cause somewhere there's a place where we belong. Rest your head, you worry too much. It's gonna be alright. When times get rough, you can fall back on us. Don't give up, please don't give up.
Got to walk out of here, I can't take anymore. Gonna stand on that bridge, keep my eyes down below. Whatever may come, and whatever may go, that river's flowing, that river's flowing. Moved on to another town, tried hard to settle down. For every job, so many men, no one needs.
Don't give up, 'cause you have friends. Don't give up, you're not the only one. Don't give up, no reason to be ashamed. Don't give up, you still have us. Don't give up now, we're proud of who you are. Don't give up, you know it's never been easy. Don't give up, 'cause I believe there's a place where we belong.
Don't Give Up by Peter Gabriel. One of my favourite sayings is, don't ask why this is happening to me, ask why it is happening for me. That's another saying that I've used over the years. You know, when we get in those mindsets where we're just like, why is this happening to me? Like, why am I going through this? Imagine if you could shift that mindset to, well, I wonder why this is happening for me. What is it? Like, where have I veered off my path? And so is this happening to push me back on my path? I often see this with my clients who start on their spiritual journey. So when they come for kinesiology and they've been for many sessions, what happens is they start almost shedding their old life. But it takes a while for their new life to show, and they get stuck in this messy bit. So they know that the job they're in is not for them anymore, or they know that the person that they're with is not for them anymore, but they're not quite ready to let go because they don't know what else is for them. It's hard, right? Like if you've done a career for, say, 20, 30 years, and then suddenly you're not happy in that career, but you haven't quite worked out what is for you, it can be really hard to leave that job while you're trying to find your new path. And the same with relationships. You know, if you've been with somebody for many years and suddenly you realize that this just is not working, and it's not been working for a long time, but you just didn't realize, and now you suddenly see the reality, how do you let go? And sometimes you can't, right? Sometimes it's not easy. It takes a while to plan and prepare. Or the other thing I've seen is that people know, they often know that something is not for them, but they're not willing to come away from it. The universe will take that person, that job, whatever it is, away. They'll move them out, or they'll move you out of that person's life. I see it time and time again. So I'm always like, look, the universe is going to give you little taps. It almost like taps you on the shoulder and says, hey, come on, move. Like, you know, it'll put somebody in your place of work that isn't nice and you're really fed up with them. And it's the universe tapping you. This isn't the place for you anymore. Come on. If you do not listen to those taps, sooner or later, it comes and thumps you. I see it all the time, and so I say to people, look, you'd be careful. If you don't make the choice and you don't make the move, it will make it for you, and sometimes it's not too pleasant the way it does it. So always be watching for those little signs and the taps, and is it time for you to move on? Is it time to find your new path?
Somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, there's a land that I've heard of once in a lullaby. Ooh, somewhere over the skies are blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Ooh, someday I'll wish upon a star and wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles smell like lemon drops, high above the chimney tops. That's where you find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, birds fly over the rainbow. Why then, oh, I can't someday I'll wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind me, where troubles smell like lemon drops, high above the chimney tops. That's where you find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly. If birds can fly over the rainbow, why then, oh, why can't I? Ooh,
Somewhere Over the Rainbow by Leanne and Nara. So how many times have you really seen that? I know I've seen it many times in my life. I remember working in a clinic pre-COVID, And I knew that that clinic wasn't right for me. I mean, it had its good sides, you know, but it also had its downsides, especially the man that ran the clinic. I knew he was narcissistic, but, you know, chose to ignore it because I was doing all right. And then COVID hit and I had to move out of that clinic and ended up moving into another clinic with like the most beautiful soul. You know, the chiropractor that I work with is such a beautiful man, and, you know, we have good times, we have laughs together, you know, during work. And I've helped him now with his social media. I kept saying to him for years, come on, you know, you need to get onto social media. And then finally we started making some videos. So, and he in returns that also to me. So even when I was losing my clinic and I was devastated, I was like, oh my goodness, you know, I'm a single mom. How am I going to do this? And now I look back in hindsight and it's the best thing that I could ever have happened to me. And the same with my marriage, right? Like, you've married for 13 odd years and you don't want to be alone and you don't want to be a broken family. But I look at the person I am now compared to who I was then, and I've definitely grown as a human and changed and evolved, and I have so much more self-confidence now. There is absolutely no way I could have sat talking on a radio show 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. Even the thought for me of live streaming on TikTok was like a big deal. I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to sit talking to a camera? And I remember the very first night I did it, and it's the most bizarre thing. If you've never done it, it's bizarre. You sit literally talking to a phone. Nobody else is in the room. It's just you. But again, the more you do it, the more you get used to it, right? And it becomes just a little bit easier. But even sitting on a radio, trying, you know, putting a show together for 2 hours and thinking about what to talk about, and then linking all the songs, and then just sitting talking to a microphone, you know, it's kind of weird. Most hosts have two people, right? And they bounce off each other and talk, and they have somebody else in the background doing the music. And here we are on Dreamcatcher doing it all ourselves. But, you know, again, it's given me that growth. It's something I would never, ever have thought of doing. I never have thought, oh, I'd love to be on a radio show. And then the position was offered, and I just thought, why not? What's the worst that can happen? Maybe nobody will listen to me. Nobody will like my show, but let's just give it a go. And of course, I was super anxious the first show I did. And even now I get nervous coming on, you know, before my show, and you can watch it count down, ready to connect. And, you know, as soon as it gets to that 10, 9, 8, and you take a deep breath in, like, here we go. So, you know, all these things that I've let go of on my journey, you know, I'm still here, still living my life, you know, doing okay and enjoying it and enjoying the life that I now have. It's not the life I chose. It's definitely not the life I wanted. There's absolutely nothing I can do about that. So I've had to let go of what I thought my life was going to look like. And I just have to now embrace how it actually is and make the most of it. So, you know, as we've journeyed together today, we've talked about letting go. We've talked about the weight that we carry and that backpack, and that, you know, could we just put that backpack down? You know, we've talked about life's unexpected changes, forgiveness, finding meaning in our own experiences. And perhaps, you know, it all comes down to one simple thing, and that is giving ourselves permission.
You don't need anyone's approval. You don't need to explain. You were born worthy, now it's time to claim your name. Give yourself permission to rest, to breathe, to grow, to let go of perfection and just let your true self show. It's okay to slow it down. It's okay to say not now. You don't have to chase the world. Just stand in your power now. You're not behind. You're on your path. It's not too late. to love yourself back. Give yourself permission to shine without fear, to laugh, to cry, to dream out loud, to be right here. Give yourself permission to heal, to break, to rise. You are enough. You've always been the light. You don't owe them a version that makes them more at ease. You are not too much. You're exactly what you need. Take the time you need to feel. Rewrite the words, make it real. This is your story, your soul, your song. You've been strong all along. You're not too late. You're just in bloom. The world's been waiting to meet all of you. Give yourself permission to shine without fear, to laugh, to cry, to dream out loud, to be right here. Give yourself permission to heal, to break, to rise. You are enough. You've always been the light. No more shrinking, no more shame. Take up space, speak your name. You are powerful, you are wise. You are the fire they can't deny. Give yourself permission to walk your own way, to breathe in peace and let the past fade. Give yourself permission to live and love out loud. You are enough and you are proud. Give yourself permission. You already know how. This is your time. Your life is now.
Give yourself permission. She says during that song, to break, to heal, to rise. No more shrinking, no more shame. You know, it's about permission to let go, permission to stop fighting yesterday, permission to stop carrying what no longer belongs to us, permission to grieve for as long as we need, but also permission to smile again without guilt. So for today's last song, I'm going to play The Prayer, which features Celine Dion, but it's Andrea Bocelli. I love this song. I love just playing this in the car when you're driving along. It's such a beautiful piece of music. So let's play that and then I'll come and say goodbye.
I pray you'll be alright and watch us where we go and help us to be wise. Come on, but the time is right. Here I am, take me in yours and love. Let this be your prayer. When we lose our way, lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
La luce che tu dai
I pray we'll find your light
nel cuore resterà,
and hold it in our heart.
a ricordarci che
When stars go out each night,
l'eternità eterna stella sei nella mia preghiera.
Let this be our prayer.
Quanta fede c'è.
Which shall fill our day.
Lead us to a place.
Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved.
Sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia e di speranza. Ognuno di una mano sua vicino, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. La forza che ci dà
We ask that life be kind
desiderio che
and watch us from above.
ognuno trovi amore
We hope it's all we'll find.
intorno e dentro sé.
Another soul to love. Let this be our prayer. Let this be our prayer.
Just like every child,
Just like every child, need to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be saved.
e la fede che hai acceso in noi. Sento che ci
Wow, such an amazing piece of music. Hey, that's The Prayer by Andrea Bocelli. I love his music, but it just gets you in your chest when you're listening to that type of music. Well, it does for me, you know. So thank you so much for listening into my show today. It is repeated throughout the week on dreamcatcherradio.co.uk. On YouTube, you can go there, and if you want to re-listen to it, or if you want to listen to any of my previous shows, today was show 14. So there are, another 13 episodes out there that you can listen to, and I cover all sorts of different subjects around healing and meditation, manifestation. Last week we did the universal signs, which I've just remembered I've got to finish off next week because we didn't get around to 2, so we'll do that next week. So, and if you are struggling at the moment, please feel free to reach out. You can get hold of me several ways. Please don't suffer in silence. You can contact me via my website, kerrychristie.com. You can go on there and have a little look around and see what that's all about.
That's flowing over me.
Find me on Instagram and on TikTok, just simply because I'm so busy and just trying to put some stuff together, that I'm doing at the moment. So, but watch out for me on TikTok. All my videos are on there. As I said, Instagram, and then I'm here every Friday at this time with my 2-hour show. So there's lots of different ways you can contact me, and even if you just want to give some feedback, or if you've got any questions, or if you want me to cover anything on a future show and to talk about, then please feel free to reach out and let me know. But for now, thank you so much for listening. As always, it's a pleasure, and I hope that you've learned something from today.